Hello and welcome to the Acting Coach Network podcast. I'm your host, Savanna Madden, acting coach, award-winning theatre school owner and business coach for performing arts professionals, tutors and small business owners who want to grow their businesses with confidence, resilience and to step into their CEO mindset without burning out. One of the biggest things I hear from clients, whether they're running a theatre school, building a coaching business or just trying to grow their visibility online, is that they're tired of feeling like their content isn't being seen. They're showing up, posting consistently, doing everything they've been told to do, and yet somehow the right people still aren't finding them. That's why I'm so excited about today's conversation, because we're talking about something that can completely change that. Facebook and Meta ads. But from a perspective that actually makes sense for creative business owners. My guest today, Gwen Baird, is a certified business coach and advanced meta ad strategist who helps established entrepreneurs bring in leads and grow their businesses with clear strategy and vision. She's been in the online space for over 20 years and through her bespoke coaching, managed meta ads campaigns and her 6-week course, Meta Ads Mastery, she helps people turn their visibility struggles into confident, data-driven results. What I love about Gwen's approach is that she doesn't focus on ads. She focuses on alignment, clarity, and balance. She's passionate about helping business owners find the sweet spot between working hard and actually living life on their terms. And she also shares openly about what it's like to run a successful business while managing an invisible illness. In this episode, we'll be discussing how to know when your business is ready for ads, the common mistakes to avoid, and what it really means to treat your business like a business, not just a passion project. Gwen Baird, welcome to the Acting Coach Network podcast.
Well, thank you. What a wonderful introduction. It's really good to be here. And thank you for inviting me on to your podcast.
It's my pleasure, Gwen. It's lovely to have you. Before we get into all things meta ads and strategy, because some listeners might be going, oh, my goodness, what are they going to start talking about now? Because everyone gets a bit of a fear, don't they? I would love to start with a little bit of your story. You have been in the online space for over 20 years, but can you take us back to where it all began and what led you to become a business coach and meta ad strategist?
I can indeed. 20 years ago. Almost spot on to the time too. Well, right back where it started, and it was totally not planned. This was not on the radar. It wasn't in the mix. I was happily working as a sales agent, running my own business, and I would travel the lengths and the breadths of the country, and I was selling craft products into trade. So I would go into all the wonderful craft shops, stores. It could be everything from, Pebble paints to paper products and everything in between. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And the people were so nice. And the products were such fun to play with as well. But I was doing this, but I started to feel a little bit unwell. And I thought there's something not quite right. And when you are in sales, anybody that's ever been in sales and you're traveling about and you have a lot of products in the boot of your car, it's quite difficult sometimes to have to hump all this stuff from shop to shop to shop. And I was starting to feel out of breath, not too well. And that was a bit of a trigger for me because there's a family history of a heart condition called dilated cardiomyopathy. And I thought, I really need to go and get this checked out. So after numerous tests and numerous visits to the doctors and hospitals, it was finally diagnosed that I too had dilated cardiomyopathy. Now, they often say that knowledge can be dangerous. And in this case, it probably was because of the family history. I knew how this condition developed and what it meant. So I had to step away from doing the job that I loved because I just couldn't cope with the tasks that were demanded of me every day. And it was like I gave myself about a week of having this huge pity party, as in, what do I do now? What on earth am I going to do now? I can't go and get a 9-to-5 job because it's just not viable for lots of different reasons. I won't bore you with it all here, but I thought, what am I going to do? And I was on the internet and it popped this little course, free course, learn about social media. I thought, well, I've got nothing else to do. Let's have a look at this course. So I jumped onto this course and I thought, oh, this is actually quite interesting. And it set my brain in action. I thought, if I could master how to do social media, the clients that I used to sell into, as well as the clients that I sold the products for, they really need to be on social media. Now, bearing in mind, 20 years ago, social media was relatively new.
Just a
And
bit.
it was, yeah. And so I sort of done the course, great. And it was like common sense. I thought, oh, this is easy. And then I gravitated towards Twitter. Of all the platforms, Twitter was the one that I clicked with. I really did. And I got it from day one. And it was like, this is a live 24/7 networking opportunity for anybody worldwide. It's in the palm of your hands and it's free. And I just understood it. And a lot of people didn't understand the power that was behind Twitter at that time.
Of course, it was quite a nice place to be back
It
then,
was a
wasn't
nice
it?
place to be. It was friendly and it was filled with creatives, absolutely filled with creatives. Not only that, the PR opportunities you could collect on Twitter were phenomenal. It was great. So I then developed into, Twitter very quickly became my bag. And I had courses, I had, Twitter Academy. There was Tweet Like a Pro, there was Twitter Mastery, there was Twitter Takeover. I had all the domain names. I threw everything at it. I was enjoying it and it was really good and it was a good business. And then somebody came along and changed the name and that sort of threw a spanner in the works. So, but at that point, it wasn't too bad because I had been getting into working with online systems and processes. And I could see the magic behind when you put all the pieces together, how it forms a bigger picture. And without having solid foundations, businesses just couldn't move. They got stuck. So I was learning all that in the process, investing a lot of time on me, learning all these things. And then suddenly I thought, no, business coaching is really where I would like to be. I would like to be able to help people build their business regardless of where they were in the process. And because of my own situation, I realised that this was something that people with other invisible illnesses, regardless to what it was, they could get into this and be successful. You do not need to sit at home and wallow in self-pity. Your life is not over because you have been diagnosed with a thing. It really isn't. It's how you adapt and it's how you take it on in your mindset as to what you want to do. And I thought, if I can do this, anybody can do this. So, and then things changed in the online space. Well, they do. They're evolving all the time, even more so now. And I thought, I've got to do something to sort of just rise a little bit above the noise and to show people that I'm serious about this. So that was why I decided to go down the certified business coach route, because I felt I had to prove to me and to other people that I wasn't just playing at this, this was serious. So I went down the certified business coach route and I'd always been told Facebook ads are a waste of time. Don't bother about them. Waste of money. You're as well just putting your money in the bin. And I kept seeing all these big companies online doing Facebook ads, making lots of money. And I'm thinking, there's got to be something in this. So there was a free course came up, learn how to do Facebook ads. And I went, do you know what? I'm going to do this. What have I got to lose? Let's just find out what all this is about. So I jumped on this course, got right into it. And at the end of the 5 days, I was hooked. I thought, I get this. I understand how ads work. And it just followed naturally from everything else that I had been doing up until this point. And I thought, no, I've got to find out more about this. So I did. I invested, found out more, really got deep into the advanced Facebook ads. And I'm still in that mastermind to this day because it is just brilliant. And it just makes sense. And when the ads are done properly, it's like magic for your business. It's not as difficult as you think. And it can work wonders. And it really complements the business side of the business that I've got. I did come across quite a few people saying, well, what is it? Are you doing Facebook ads? Are you a business coach? What one are you? I said, well, actually, they do complement each other. Because
Definitely.
a big part of business strategy, if you're in it for the real, the real game, the business, you need to be bringing in leads. You need to be marketing yourself and your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a case of they do complement each other and it works incredibly well. And because of the business knowledge that I've got, It helps when I formulate Facebook ads for anybody, because you look deep into the business at what's there, what have they got, what can we make the most of, and that helps with the ads. It just works.
It just works. Well, first of all, Gwen, what a story. There's a few things that I would absolutely love to pick up on there. And the first one is that obviously I'm so sorry that you have your invisible illness, and I'm not even going to try and say it because it's got a very long name. But the way that you allowed yourself to have the pity party, I do actually think that part is really important.
Yeah.
I think too many people sort of brush things off and just can't move forward, and don't actually acknowledge what has happened or they're going through. So the fact that you did, and then the mindset reframe of, well, this has happened, I've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
What could I do instead? I absolutely love that, because again, on the flip side, we could then have people wallowing in that pity party for weeks, months, and years, and not managing or being able to take the next step forwards for whatever reason. And the other thing, there's a few more. You're like the queen of finding free courses. It's very good, isn't it? I found this other free course. Love that. But I can just see how everything that you have done has weaved together to get to where you are now. And it's really interesting because everybody listening might not know that about you. And I certainly didn't. So it's just really interesting to hear all the different steps that you have gone through to get to where you are now, and how you were the Twitter woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where it is now, I mean, I haven't had the X app on my phone for a very long time.
I know.
And it was, you said, it was full of creatives. I mean, up until, I might get corrected on this, it might still be a real happening place for actors at the moment, but only about a year or two ago, it was still very, very full of where you could get opportunities, where you could showcase yourself, where you could connect with casting directors and agents. But I can't imagine that it is the most popular place for that right now.
No,
But
it
who
might
knows?
come back. Who knows?
Exactly. Never say never. But in the work that you do work with a lot of established business owners who are trying to grow or reach more people. So from your experience, what's the biggest thing that people are getting wrong? Or I don't even want to necessarily use the word wrong, but what are they not quite doing when it comes to their visibility online or their visibility strategy?
The visibility thing, this is something we could sit and talk about all day. But the visibility thing, really, it comes down to, I see a lot of people think that visibility means being on social media. And their whole business model turns into, basically, they turn themselves into a social media manager. Their whole day is spent with, right, I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook, I've got TikTok, I've X, I've got LinkedIn, I've got all this, and I've got to be everywhere. They think that being visible means being everywhere all the time. They're on stories, they're everywhere. And whilst, yes, that is a part of being visible, visibility also means like showing up. It's knowing where, when, and how to show up. It's a lot about you as a person and your personal brand. When people look at you, they need to see the real you. Being visible doesn't mean showing up on social media with the champagne glasses and the perfect photographs and everything's just tickety-boo, but behind the scenes you're an absolute shiver and wreck. That just won't work.
Yes, because for a lot of theatre school owners, they will use the students that they teach as part of their visibility strategy. But what I have found is that parents are really, really interested in the principal or the business owner, the person at the top of the food chain, as it were. And content that I post on my theatre school social media gets a lot of traction if it's got my face on it. And that's not a vanity metric in any way, shape or form, because I'd much prefer to be posting beautiful pictures and videos of the children having a wonderful time. But if it's me giving a piece of advice or some recommendations, or I have to say it, a nice little peep into my personal life. Yeah, that's the one. And I do see a lot of theatre school owners not putting themselves front and centre. And that I totally understand, because you've got a business to run. You don't want to be on social media all of the time. So obviously you've got other ways of showing up, as you were just mentioning there. But yeah, it's just very interesting how in
It
this
is.
particular industry, we use lots of different ways to be visible. But what the people really want is the
Yep.
person that's behind the
It
account.
is. They want the real you because that builds up the trust factor. We all know about the know, like, and trust, but it builds up that trust. People will trust you when they see the real you, warts and all. If you're making a mistake, if you've got outtakes, look how popular they are. People just love it. But you can be visible on social media just showing up as you. The more you that you are, the more it attracts your right people into your world. Being on podcasts has been visible, doing guest expert slots for people, doing workshops, attending events, going to live networking or online networking. It's all getting your name out there and building your authority. And this is where a lot of people fall down, is they can't see it as anything other than social media posting, which is a shame because it sucks up so much time out of their day, their week, their month, because they're too focused on their social media and their likes and loves and vanity metrics that you've just touched on. Yeah.
So you talk about the importance of having your offer and your message and your audience aligned before you spend a penny on ads, which
Yeah.
I love. That's definitely part of your messaging. So can you explain and unpack for us what that actually means for people that might not know what you're talking about? Because especially for those of us working in the creative industries, we're very much focused on teaching our classes, making sure the students are having a great time. And a lot of theatre school owners come from a performing background, not from a business background.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't see themselves as a business owner or a marketer or, the CEO of their business. So what does it mean?
Well, basically what it means is you've got to have the foundations in place for everything else to work. Like, for example, you could run ads saying, right, I'm going to run ads. I'm doing this free workshop. So you could pay good money that you've worked hard to earn on doing this free workshop. You could have 200 people sign up for your free workshop. Say it's an online workshop. They all come online on a Thursday night, 6:30. You deliver this amazing workshop and you go away thinking, oh, that was lovely. I had 200 people on my workshop. I did well. I did good. And then you don't do anything. You've got 200 people that have come into your world. They've loved what you've done on your workshop. But now what? If you've got no structure for follow-up or nurturing those people, you've got zero chance of getting any sales out of them in the future. You've wasted all that effort in getting them into your world, especially, for example, if you collect email addresses. What do you do with them once they're on your email list? You've got to nurture them, speak to them, keep them warmed up, because these are now warm clients, warm leads that you've got into your email list. They've signed up because they trust you, they like what you do. If they don't like you, you're not for them, they'll unsubscribe. Don't take it personally, it's a good thing. But the thing is, what do you do with them now? It's how you nurture the people once they come in. What foundations have you got in place that lets that happen in the background whilst you go on doing the bits that you love?
So let's say we've had this workshop, we've had our 200 people come, we've got all their email addresses, we start putting them into our nurture sequence. They're on our marketing email list. We're getting them targeted on our weekly email, let's say, and we're, getting more people coming into our world. But how do we then know if we're ready to go the next step, Gwen, and start with our ad campaign, for example? What are the signs that a business is ready for meta ads?
Right.
And
Well, that's a really
and
great...
also, when might you say, now's not the right time for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. For example, I've had people come to me and say, Gwen, I've got my last £500. Will you go and do ads for me, please? This is sink or swim. If this doesn't work, I'm jacking it all in. And I'll say, no, not doing it. It's not going to work. It doesn't work like that. There isn't a magic fairy that comes down and says, yes, we'll make you rich for £500. Yeah. Doesn't work like that. What I would always suggest to somebody is, what is the one objective that you want from your ads? One objective from your ads. Is it to get people onto an email list? And if you want them onto your email list, what are you going to do with them once they're there? For example, you could have a lead magnet offering an amazing freebie. Okay. It could be a short video series. It could be a wonderful ebook. It's got to be a super duper PDF these days for people to be confident and sign up and give you the details because they know what's going to happen next, So, and then they get your freebie. They're on your email list. And I would say, well, you need to have a nice welcome sequence in place. Then after that, you're building up with your emails. You've done the mini course, you've had the PDF, whatever it is you're offering, and then you start to talk about, I've got this lovely 6-week course that would be just perfect for you. You'd be a great fit. Here's the information, and then you can convert sales that way. And once you've tried this organically with your audience, you've gone out on your social media, you've gone out on your emails, people are buying, people are interested. You think, right, okay, what I need now is I need new people into my world so as they can see this. Because if my organic people are liking this, they're liking what they're seeing, I want to bring new people in and we convert them into sales that way. I always talk about it's very easy to have a group of people that's in your world that every time you put a post out, you've got the love hearts, you've got the likes, you've got the shares, you've got the pats on the back, but these people are not buying because they've maybe bought from you already, or they're maybe never going to actually buy from you, but they just love you to bits, they love what you do and they want to be in your world. And I quite often refer to this as the Mutual Admiration Society. They're wonderful. We need them. We love them to bits. But for your business to grow, if you're serious, you've got to be bringing in new people. So that would be the time you would think, right, you think, have I got the knowledge to do ads myself? B, do I have the resources to pay somebody to do it for me? And also, do I have the budget for ad spend? What is my budget going to be for the ad spend?
Really good tips.
Yeah, if you're comfortable with those bits and you've got those foundations in the back end, I mean, it could even be you've got a small low ticket price thing that you want to sell. That's perfect for going out to the ads with. But again, you still need to have all the infrastructure in place behind the scenes because it's a bit more difficult if you're asking strangers for money than it is if you're just asking them to sign up to a free lead magnet.
Of course. And so with the 3 points that you made there, I'm going to hazard a guess that most people in this industry do not have the knowledge to do the ads themselves. They might have a budget for one or the other. So they might have a budget for the ad spend, but they might not have the budget to take somebody on to do it for them, vice versa. Obviously, there are going to be businesses that do have the budget for all of the above. But what if they don't have a very big budget? So maybe they're like, yeah, I can absolutely afford to bring you in, Gwen, but I don't know what would you say to me if I said, oh, I've got quite a small budget for the actual ad spend and I just want to dip my toe in, see how it goes. I don't want to waste too much money. What's the simple approach you'd recommend for people that are just starting out?
I recommend to everybody, unless it's a business that's really, really established, they've got a marketing budget, they've got money to spend, they've done ads before, that's a different ball game. If you're just starting out, I tell everybody, you do not need to start and spend a fortune. The way I set up the ads, they're done in such a way that we track everything so as you know exactly where the leads are coming in from and you know where to put the money. We can look at the ads and they will tell you what's working, what's not working, what needs to get fixed, what we can tweak. And it's all about optimizing. And then once everything's fully optimized, you can then think about scaling up with your ad spend. But to begin with, no more than £10 a day on each campaign would run you a successful ads campaign.
Thank you. For some people, they might be like, I don't know what that means either. But you might have multiple campaigns running at one time, mightn't you? And so therefore you'd have £10 on each one of those. And can you tell us as well how long an average ad campaign runs for so people can do a few extra sums?
It depends very much on your objective. For example, I get a lot of people come and say, I'm doing a 5-day free challenge. Those ads, a lot of people want them to go 3-4 weeks. I always try and suggest maximum 2 weeks. If you're brave enough, just let's go with 10 days. Because, you can do 4 weeks. And you can, for those type of ads, there'd be a warm campaign and a cold campaign. So we target your warm audience, which is people within your current social media, website, Instagram, Facebook. Your cold audiences, we map out 5 really good audiences to target. that would be your niche, and we put £10 on each campaign. So you'd be spending that for 4 weeks. But with a challenge, for example, people that sign up in the first week and a bit, by the time you come to start your challenge, they've forgotten all about it because it was like 4 weeks ago. And the chances is, oh, I'm too busy now, I can't be bothered to show up. We'll just forget about that. It was a free challenge, it doesn't matter. But you've got to be aware too that it's a numbers game. You may get 500 people sign up, but only maybe 250 might actually opt into the Facebook group to do the challenge. And maybe 100 will be active in the challenge. And maybe if it's your first challenge, you do get a higher conversion rate because you've got all your warm, organic people in there too. So you've got to be aware of the numbers game. But if you leave it 10 days, okay, we'll say 2 weeks, keep everybody happy. If we say you run it for 2 weeks, then what happens is the people are still warm, they're still aware of it, they know what's happening, they know what's coming. So then they would come into the challenge. But then you need to spend money for 2 weeks, not 4, and get more people not showing up.
Because people will just lose interest in that time, as you
But
say,
that's
won't
the
they?
nature of the beast with challenges, you know. So for that sort of thing, it would be you run the ads for 2 weeks. That's it. And then you jump into the challenge. If you were saying, right, I'm doing a workshop on the 17th of December and I want to get people into that workshop, you could run ads now with a free lead magnet to get people into your email list, to bring lots of new people into your list now. You could run that ads for 4 weeks. Okay, you could run that ad to the 1st of December. You could run those ads then till the 1st of December. You would have a good couple of hundred people in your email list, but you've got them to email and then get them into your workshop that you were doing on the 17th of December. But you could also start a new ad campaign on the 1st of December up until the 16th of December, purely to get people into your workshop. So you then have all your nice, lovely new emails, but they're in your world now to nurture forevermore. You'll get them into the workshop and you'll then run the workshop and you'll get even more cold leads coming in to attend the workshop. So you're getting all these new leads into your world, building up your audience. And at some point, if you've got everything in the back end right, you can convert it, but you just have to do the sums to make sure that you've got the pennies to do that.
Absolutely. And it's really good to know that there's at least 2 different strategies to achieve the same. It's not quite the same objective, but at the end of the day, you want bums on seats at your workshop.
It's that forward planning.
Exactly. So you're still striving towards the same objective, but you might just do it in a slightly different way. Fabulous. So we're going to move on a little bit. And when we had a little chat pre-record, Gwen, you said that a question you'd love to be asked is about your zone of genius. And it's really funny that since you mentioned that to me a little while ago, it's that whole thing of like, it's popped up everywhere and I'm hearing more people talk about their zone of genius. So it's very interesting. So where do you think your zone of genius lies in the work that you do?
Right. Okay. No pressure there then. No, but joking aside, for me, it really is it's where the business coaching, we sort of touched on this, it's where the business coaching crosses with the Facebook ads. Because even just in the business coaching side of things, people might not even have Facebook ads in their head. But as we go through the business and we plan everything out and we formulate what's going to happen down the line and we reverse engineer things, suddenly, maybe I need Facebook ads there. I don't know, I think maybe you do. Yeah. And they work it out for themselves. And it's when it comes to the Facebook ads being entwined with the business coaching, I can see the gaps in the business from where somebody is sitting now to where they want to be. And I can see exactly where the Facebook ads would fit into that journey to help them get there quicker.
Fantastic. And that's exactly what so many business owners need, don't they?
Yeah.
They just need an objective pair of eyes to take a look at their business, see what's working, see what needs a little bit of help, and to then recommend or advise on where to plug those holes, as you say. And to also, may I just say, Gwen, in a very kind, compassionate and considerate way, because you and I have worked together.
Yes.
And the reason that I wanted to work with you was because of your demeanour and the way that you speak to your clients and the way that you're very non-judgmental and you make your clients feel really seen and heard, and that you're really interested in their business as well, which is really nice. But it's when you are stepping into something that is completely unknown, which I imagine a lot of your clients are in that scenario,
Yeah.
that's why they've come to you, that you don't want to feel a bit silly, or you're asking silly questions, or you might feel a little bit vulnerable in that space, and you're really good at making your clients feel at ease, and
Good.
that,
That's good to
yeah,
hear. Yeah.
and that, you're in a
Mhm.
safe
Yeah.
space to ask questions that you might
Yeah.
feel a little bit silly asking. But
Yeah.
there is no such thing as a silly question, is there?
Never, never. And on that vein as well, I mean, the one thing that I always say to people is, I will tell you if I don't think Facebook ads is the right thing for you at this time, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Because
And
there's no
a lot
point
of
in
people
me
won't do
wasting,
that, will they?
no, it's no point in me wasting your money and my time for it to not get you the results that you need because the things are not in place. So I'm never afraid to say, actually, now's not the right time.
Yeah, and some coaches just wouldn't be that transparent, would they? They would be like, "Oh, good, I've got another client," and exactly, rub their hands together, a little bit more money in the bank, etc. Yeah, and that's fine if that's how people want to work, but that is not where I think you and I are aligned. I think
Yeah.
we're very much aligned on we'll tell you if it's not quite right for you. Anybody that follows you on social media will know that you are very open about living with an invisible illness and building a business that works for you, not against you. So how would you say your experience has shaped the way that you coach your clients and the kind of business that you have created for yourself?
It's really been interesting, because the one thing that I realized very quickly is there is no one size fits all. It just doesn't work that way at all. Everybody is different. Everybody works differently. And the one thing I said to myself at the beginning with this illness was, it's not going to rule me, so I am going to have to, take control and not let it control me. And that's what I've always been like when I've been doing the business, because it made me, I've got to work to my own energy levels. First thing in the morning, I am brilliant. Like, I'm an early bird. I can be 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning.
And the same.
Ping! I'm so wide awake and things get done. But 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, don't expect too much from me, because it might be a bit of a push. But that's how I know my limits. I know what works for me. And that made me realize too that everybody is so different. If you get somebody that's a night hawk that comes alive at night time, that's great. So they need to model their business around that to suit them. And it works when you align your business with how you are as a person and what you want. And again, it helps you as well bring in the right clients, because they'll understand. Because when you talk about it and you let other people know, it resonates with the people that matter.
Definitely.
That makes sense?
Absolutely. So I was talking to somebody on a previous episode just a couple of weeks ago who was saying that they work much better at nighttime. So when their child goes to sleep, they manage to get a lot of work done in the evening, and they have a toddler just like me, whereas I work much better getting up early in the morning, because by the evening I'm just absolutely done. I suppose you could say, I also live with an invisible illness. I have an underactive thyroid, which I am medicated for, but it definitely affects my energy levels and how tired I am.
Yeah.
And I take my medication as soon as I get up in the morning and don't eat or drink anything for half an hour. And that has really helped, even if it's a placebo effect. It has really helped me feel even more alert in the mornings, which has been really, really good. So I think it's only been the last sort of 6 months that I've actually really, really tapped into what works for me as a business owner, which has been a real revelation. So that's great. One of the other things that I feel that you and I align with a lot, and being incredibly passionate about what we do versus also being a business person. So we have to treat our businesses like a business, not a passion project. And it's very difficult when you absolutely love what you do so much. But you have to have that boundary, don't you? You have to have your business owner, CEO hat on. And again, because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of performing arts professionals come from a performing background, not a business background, it can sometimes blur the line about treating your business like a business. So, what does stepping into that sort of business owner mindset look like in practice? And how do you think creatives might be able to start making the shift into CEO if they're not quite there yet?
Yeah, it is a good one. This, you see this, it happens a lot. People think, oh, I'm this big entrepreneur, I've got business and all the rest of it. And this was a lesson I learned when I'd done the certified business coaching. And the first thing they give you is a big, huge sheet of paper, 2 sides, list on both sides. And it says, tick everything that you think you are. And you tick it all. And as you're going through it, you think, and it's got, do you have a hobby or do you have a proper business? And you're going, tick, tick, you're going, oh, tick. And you're going down the list and you think, yeah, there is a lot to learn in the business world. But it all comes down to where are you now? Basically, just to simplify it for this call, where are you now? Right, I'm here now. This is my revenue. This is what I make every month. But you've got to think of the bigger picture. Where do you want to be ultimately? And how do you propose to get there? And they're making you think about things like, when it comes to retirement, how much money do you want to have every month to live off? And what do you need to do now to get there? I mean, I've said umpteen times, I wish I knew all this 20 years ago. I would be in a totally different position if I knew all this 20 years ago. So I keep preaching to everybody, do it now. Don't wait. You've got to do it now. And it is all about, do you know, for example, what your operating expenses are? You know, it's all the nitty gritty stuff that people don't think about and they don't want to think about it. But you need to know, what is your operating expenses? What is your monthly revenue? You've got to think about things like, what is the actual value of a client? How much would they spend with you? And how many of those clients are you going to need to reach your goals? And how much should you be investing every month out of your annual revenue to be able to grow for the future? Because ultimately, when people talk about living life on your terms, you've got to think about, what would my ideal life look like? You know, a lot of people think living life on my terms is, well, I've got my business, I'm my own boss. I'm only going to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not going to work Mondays and Fridays, but I've not got enough money to put food on the table or pay the bills. You've got to go deep on this and think about, right, okay, you know, I need to put X amount away for investment, pension, I need to put X amount away for my operating expenses, and I need this for the household bills, and, you know, and what have you got left? You've got to think about all this stuff, because that then leads you into, right, what do I need to do to make it happen?
Well, if that isn't the kick up the backside that anybody needs to start looking at their finances and whether they should treat their business like a business or not, I don't know what is, because you couldn't have put it any better. People go to have a service and they pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, so if you have a business where people pay you for your service, then you should be ensuring that you're charging the right prices and that you're not undercutting yourself,
Yeah.
because that's another sort of limiting belief I think a lot of people in
It
the
is,
performing arts
yeah.
world have. Particularly, I know it's very common across all industries, but I would say in the performing arts world it's very common that people will undercharge because they think that people won't pay the higher prices. But it's just about positioning yourself as
It
having
is.
the best, you know, the best service in your area or
But do you
whatever
know
it is.
what, Savannah? Also, if you are too cheap, people think, you know, that's a bit cheap. Oh, you can't be good enough then. So, oh no, I'll go and find somebody else that's a bit more. That's true. Yeah.
I think as well, what I've noticed, because I still work in the performing arts in terms of my theatre school, where parents are paying for a service for their children, and then I work with adults with coaching them on their businesses, parents are much more willing to pay for a service for their children than they are to pay for a service for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge eye-opener for me, because I've not really encountered too many issues with parents wanting to pay for things for their children. And now I'm a parent myself, I also really understand why, because
You'll understand it. Yeah.
exactly, if your child has an interest in something, you would love them to go and do it, and you might make a few sacrifices yourself to enable them to do that. And so I think theatre school owners particularly need to be a bit more bold about their pricing. I've talked about it a lot, as I'm sure you can tell.
Yeah.
I've talked about it a lot, about knowing your worth and knowing that you're offering a really good service and coaching all these young people, not just in dance, singing, acting is the focus of the school, but the communication, the people skills, the other different skills they're going to take into their life as they grow up.
Yep.
It's so important, the friendships they make, all of that sort of thing. Another sort of pain point I would say I encounter with working with my clients is everyone is talking about how busy they are. They're just all so busy and couldn't possibly squeeze any time into their schedule to take time out for self-care, take time out to invest in their business, to be coached by a coach or something like that, because, they're all just so busy. We're all busy. But what is the difference
Right.
between being busy
This
and actually growing?
This so common you would not believe, but people are always busy being busy.
Yes.
Right. You might even hear it being referred to, you're stuck in the weeds. You just
Yes.
never get out those weeds, or you're on the hamster wheel, you're busy being busy. But basically what that means is everybody's busy working in the business. You're busy posting on your social media, your business, creating copy, you're busy, faffing about doing stuff that's not getting you anywhere, but you're busy in your business. You are not busy working on the business. You're not moving the business forward.
Hallelujah.
You're not growing the business. You're just being busy in your business. And it's like, okay, I'll go and do all my diary entries, and I'll tidy up the desk, and I'll get the new journal out, and I'm busy doing this, and I'm busy. Oh, I'm too busy for that. I can't go to that call because I'm too busy. I'm too busy. They'll do these courses where it'll say, get everything in your diary. Yes, it is mega important. If it's not in the diary, it doesn't get done. But you don't need to fill the diary in every minute of every day. You just don't. Another good way to look at it is you've got 24 hours in a day. Okay, what do you need to get done? And a good practice, it works for me. It's not for everybody, but for the people that get up early in the morning, if you spend even just 90 minutes or an hour, but 90 minutes every morning working on your business, before you do anything, before you look at the phone, before you look at emails, before you go onto social media, before you start going down the rabbit hole of looking at reels, if you spend 90 minutes working on your business, now that's planning your strategy, even if it's thinking of, right, I want to do this course, right, reverse engineer it. What date are you going to launch this? Work your way back, work about everything that needs to get done, everything that needs to get put in place, who you need to help you, if you need anybody to help you, what you need to record, what emails you'll need. You plan all that out, and you've got the next day you start working on it to get it all done. You're working on the business, not in the business. That's the big difference.
Gwen, I love you. If anybody doesn't take just that piece of advice away from this episode, but that piece of advice for any business owner is just brilliant, because as we've said, too many people are just too bloomin' busy doing this, that and the other. And I am one of the world's worst faffers, but I have got much, much better because of implementing this exact strategy. And I didn't even know that you were going to say that. So I'm delighted.
Unrehearsed.
Yeah, I am absolutely delighted, because I just want more people to realize that they are capable of so much more than they realize. And if you gave yourself a bit more time in the week to work on your business, not in it, imagine what you could achieve. Yeah. It's just incredible, isn't it?
You'd be amazed how much time that frees up as well.
Yes.
And you
exactly.
touched on it, Savanna, you need to put in the diary self-care time. It is so important. It should be in there every day, even if it's just half an hour.
Yeah. I work with a lot of teachers and a lot of classroom teachers.
Yeah.
And they don't even understand what self-care is. Of course they do. They're very intelligent, wonderful people. But because of being so institutionalized by being in a school where breaks are so few and far between, and the expectation to work through a break and do duties and all sorts of other things, and also do a lot of unpaid work, that is a very, very difficult mindset to reframe and to adjust. And I really have a lot of time for people that are in that situation, because I just want them to realize just how magnificent they are, and that they've got all these incredible skills, but they need to recharge, recoup, and be able to deliver these amazing things that they have in their kit, as it were. But we just can't pour from an empty cup, can we?
No, absolutely not. It is so important. I'll give you this little gem too. This was just a couple of weeks ago. I was listening to somebody and they were talking about, reading books, and everybody always goes on about, I'm not going to have time to read books. I'm busy being busy. I've not got time to read books. And what they said was, even if you pick up a book and read one chapter a day, promise yourself you will read one chapter a day, whether it be morning, evening, night, whatever. They said, you'll get through 2 books a month if you think about it. And I went, you know what? That's absolutely true.
I love reading, and I tend to read in the mornings because I'm just too tired by the time I go to bed in the evening. But I have, other things that I do to wind down in the evening, like practicing gratitude and writing in my journal and things like that. But I tend to read in the morning, and I find that really grounding, as well as a fun activity to do before the day starts. Oh, wonderful. So we have talked a lot about building a business that supports your life, your lifestyle, the way that you work. So we've both shared that we're better in the mornings than we are in the evenings, for example, and not the other way around. Build a business that is ruling our lives and making us stressed and everything. So for you, Gwen, what does living life on your terms look like for you right now?
Right here, right now, it really is. I just love what I do. So for me, it is about my one-to-one clients. I just love the one-to-one clients on the business coaching. It doesn't feel like work. I'm really sort of geeky when it comes to the Facebook ads because I love all the data and what goes on behind the scenes. But it is also because I'm mindful of my energy and how I feel, and I've got to look after myself. It's a non-negotiable. I've got to do it. So for me, it is, I've got to the position now where Mondays, Tuesdays, for example, are busy client days, Mondays, Tuesdays. Wednesdays, sort of half and half. Thursdays and Fridays are always kept clear for things that I want to do. As in, that could be, I could book clients in on a Thursday if it's a busy week or there's a special one-off, thing going on. Thursdays are for that. And Fridays, I try to keep clear for do the self-care stuff, for just, it's there for me for whatever's needed. For example, there was a couple of in-person client days coming up and they were booked in either the Thursday or the Friday. And it's still work, but it's fun and it's enjoyable. But I've got a handle on the operating expenses and the money that's coming in and the money that's going out and all the other stuff that needs to get done. And I'm just in the process of opening up the new Facebook ads, advanced ads mastery course, because people are not always ready for somebody to do it for them, but they want to know how to do it. So I've finally given in and put this 6-week course together. So I've been busy working on that. So my Thursdays and Fridays I've been taking up doing that just now because I want to do it and I want to get it done. So, but it's pretty much sorted doing things the way I want to do them. And this new course coming into the mix. But because of the way it's designed, once it's up and running after the first initial beta round, it's not going to take up much more of my time. Everything will be in place.
And Gwen, you have given so many brilliant pieces of advice today, but if you could give just one piece of advice to a fellow business owner or creative who's feeling a bit stuck or unsure right now, what would it be?
It would be, if you were really feeling stuck, not sure where to go and find somebody to speak to. Spend an hour with them. Somebody that's a bit more advanced than you. Okay, ask them for an hour of their time. Okay, whether it be paid or whether it be as a buddy, you decide. But have an hour with them, sit with them, talk with them, have questions for them, see where you're at, where you want to be, and get advice from them. What have they done that you could do to help move you forward?
Absolutely brilliant, because the advice is all around us, isn't it? But it's finding the right person for you and somebody that you trust. Yeah. Fantastic, Gwen. Thank you. So before we wrap up, where can everyone find you online? And is there anything else you want to tell us about your new Meta Ads Mastery course?
Well, you can find me at gwenbaird.com. That's the website. Everything's on there. Social links are on there. I've even got the new Ads Mastery course on there now too. And this first round is going to be, it's a beta round. So it will be sort of half and half. Half of it will be recorded, but half of it will be live. So you've got me in your pocket, so to speak. Or it's a 6-week course, but anybody that joins this beta round, we kick off on the 17th of November. But because we're coming up to Christmas, anybody that joins the beta round, because it's a beta round and we're planning it and recording it as we go, they've got access until the end of January for that course. So, but all the details are on the website. You'll see it on the tab at the top. Gwen's Advanced Ads Mastery. I can't use the words meta or I get into trouble.
And we will link all of that up in the show notes as well.
Fab.
Thank you so much, Gwen.
You're more than welcome. It's been lovely chatting to you.
And thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Acting Coach Network podcast. If you love what you heard, make sure you're following. And if you've got a moment, I'd love you to leave a quick review or share this episode with someone else in the industry who might just need it. You can find me on Instagram at the Acting Coach Network. And if you're looking for support to grow your coaching business or creative career with confidence, resilience, and without burning out, I'm offering 3-month one-to-one coaching packages where we can get to the bottom of what you most need help with in your business. You can also find my latest free resource in the show notes. I'll be back soon with more real conversations, expert insights, and tools to help you build a business you love. Until next time, keep going, stay kind to yourself, and I'll see you soon.